All right, we're going to go to our next question. Comes from Keith, who asks, what is the stack your points definition of a catch-all? And can it have foreign transaction fees? Does it have to be accepted at almost all merchants? Main questions, what is your current catch-all and what do you think is the best catch-all on the market, even if you do not have that card? And is there a popular catch-all that you think is underrated? If so, why? So, RJ, I'll throw to you on this one first.
So I think when it comes to acceptability of cards, that is mostly not a problem for any of the four major networks. There are the oddballs that won't take a Discover or an Amex, but even in my sort of rural location, that is not really a problem anymore. There is only one place I can think of that I have gone in the last 10 to 15 years that has not taken Discover or Amex, and they are very much a mom and pop place, so I'm not entirely surprised, but it's just not really an issue. Now, internationally is different, but that's not really the focus for most people when it comes to a catch-all. There is also Costco, but again, that is an edge case. That's not a main catch-all. As far as what my definition is, it is a card that is not 1x, right? It's 1.5, ideally 2x in whatever system you want to earn points passively. And what I mean by passively is like catch-alls are by their definition non-category. So that can cover a wide variety of things. So that's how I would personally define it. Foreign transaction fees, ideally no. Something like the Blue Business Plus does have foreign transaction fees, but I also know that, so I just wouldn't catch all it for something that I know is going to have a foreign transaction fee unless I know it's not going to be an issue. If I'm buying something that's 20 bucks, I'm probably not going to get too bent out of shape. If I'm buying something that's 2,000, more shape to be bent out of. So there's that. As far as what I use as my catch-all, in my setup when I'm not working a sub, it's the Hilton Business because it's 5x on everything. I am most of my points from Amex are going to Hilton or Delta, more Hilton than Delta, just because of how points work. So earning it straight on the Hilton doesn't bother me. I know others who will never use a co-brand as their catch-all. That's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with it. So yeah, I think catch-alls are something that people overthink. Like whatever your preferred system is, get the 2x or the 1.5 in that system and earn in that system and be happy. I don't think we need the best on the market is the one in the system that you're in because that is the one that's going to earn you points in the system you want to be earned in. So that's what I have there.
Thank you very much, RJ. Lonnie, your thoughts here.
Yeah, I almost had to take notes for all the sub questions in this question. So let's start at the top. So my definition of a catch-all card is whatever card that you want to use for the all other purchase categories. And that just means, as RJ mentioned, whatever you're going to maximize the most points in that all other purchase. So it can be like a Freedom Unlimited at 1.5. It can be a Venture X. It can be a hotel card that gets 3x or 2x, depending on which hotel card you have. But for me, I would like to consider a catch-all card almost the same way that I consider a dining program, where my catch-all card is whatever points that I need, because it's not just, oh, I got to spend this. What card am I going to put it on? I know I'm just going to put it on this one. No, you've heard me say this before. Points have to have a purpose and an exit strategy. And so if I am working on building up points for a Marriott stay, then my catch-all is going to go towards Marriott or a partner in which I can transfer to Marriott, like a Chase or a Bilt in that manner. If I'm looking at Chase points, and my catch-all is probably going to be my Freedom Unlimited because it's the one Chase card that's going to get me the most out in public once I'm outside of the house per swipe versus like online MacGyvering, point stacking, or whatever. Does it have to have, or can it have foreign transaction fees? It can. It doesn't necessarily have to have them, but it can. The Freedom Unlimited doesn't have foreign transaction fees. And like I just said, that's a catch-all card. That's the one card I use at Costco because it's the one Visa card that gets me the most. Does it have to be accepted at almost all merchants? I would also say no to that. Actually, I hate to do this to you guys, but we're going to have to pause the edit. And someone's going to have to edit this out because my dog wants to get out of this. And we're back. Now, Does it have to be accepted at almost all merchants? Now, I am actually going to take a slightly different approach than RJ on this one because when I travel internationally, then that's when I need the foreign transaction fees. And very similar to what you were saying about like mom and pop shops, which are some of my most favorite places to go when I travel, they don't necessarily take American Express. I've been on many cruise ports where American Express is not accepted. I've been to many countries where American Express is not. We might be accepted in like the downtown district where I'm staying at in my hotel, but then in the local area, the city next, or when I'm trying to see other parts of the country, absolutely not. And so that actually changes my catch-all, even from my Freedom Unlimited all the way down to something like my United card or Chase Sapphire Reserve, where I'm only going to get one because it's Visa and I know it can be accepted there. Now, next question, Keith's question. What's my current catch-all card and what do I think is the best catch-all card on the market, even if I don't have it? I will, going back to my answer, my two main catch-all cards right now are my Hilton Aspire card. One is because I am very close to getting that 30K free night certificate, and I am going Hilton heavy in 2025 and maybe my first trip, personal trip in 2026. You go to Hilton's website and look at any of their premium hotel brands, like a Conrad or a Waldorf, those things can be like 200,000 points, 300,000 points, 600,000 points, sometimes even a million points a night. And so I want to get as many points as possible. And at the same time, I can get a little bit closer to that 60K, preferably, hopefully by the end of the year. I get an extra free night certificate when I get my annual fee free night certificate, giving me 3 all at once, if that makes sense. So that's currently one. If it's a Visa card, my Freedom Unlimited. But like I said, it just depends on what I'm working on. If I realize I have enough Hilton points, I might switch it to my IHG card where I'm getting 3 IHG points instead. Who knows? Is there a popular catch-all that I think is overrated? Not really. I would say like some of the high-end cashback cards, if anything. But I don't like the overrated part because it's not really overrated just because it might be popular or it might work for a small niche of people. That just goes down to the person that has to use it. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, then you should be doing something about it. Maybe you're not fully educated on what could be working for you, but I wouldn't necessarily use overrated. There's nothing wrong with any of them. Someone would probably say the Freedom Unlimited is overrated. I don't necessarily think so, but it just depends on how you use it. Get 1.5 and transfer it to a card that gets me additional 1.5 in their travel portal is not overrated. That's just a smart move, in my opinion. So that's the way that I would look at that.
All makes sense. And as long as that additional 1.5 is still standing in 24 hours, it should be. I'm reasonably certain it will. Lonnie, you muted yourself.
Look, there's two things that they should not take away. One is the 1.5 in the travel portal for when you redeem your points and the $300 travel credit. Now, I know the latter of the two has not been in the rumors or whatnot, but I'm standing on my business. I will worry about it when it's officially announced, and then I will make my judgment at that point.
Yep. No, absolutely. Yeah, for definition for a catch-all, it is going to be that card that is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for all other spend because you can't match all of your spend to all of you can't put all of your spend on 3 select cards. We wish we could, but that's not always going to be the case unless you have the US Bank Altitude Reserve and you can Apple Cash or Apple Pay everything. The likelihood of that now not very high because you can't get an Altitude Reserve in its current iteration anyway. And that card can't come back a third time. Much like hockey in Atlanta, you can't do it 3 times. Just my opinion. Anyway, can it have foreign transaction fees? It can. The foreign transaction fees are going to be another way for the banks to be able to help their bottom line. That's why the Freedom Unlimited has a foreign transaction fee. That's why the Active Cash has a foreign transaction fee. That's why most of them will have foreign transaction fees. Like you can pay for no foreign transaction fees with catch-alls like the IHG Premier, like the Hilton Surpass or the Hilton Honors Business Card. You can look into the occasional no foreign transaction fee catch-all card, but you're looking then at the Fidelity Rewards card, which is a really nice card for no annual fee. That's great. But like, how is that fitting your travel purposes if you're someone who's going like heavy into points and miles? Like, yes, you can make back the 2% and then maybe siphon that 2% over to purchasing some points, depending on how much money you spent. I don't think your return on spend is on that is going to be particularly high. There's also the PNC 2% card, but like nobody banks a PNC or nobody really uses PNC cards for foreign travel. Like, it's a nice niche for that card to fill, but until PNC gets into travel, not a whole lot of us are going to be going after that card necessarily. Can it have foreign transaction fees? Yeah, the foreign transaction fees are going to feed into being able to afford other parts of the program, unfortunately. Just a fact of life. Does it have to be accepted at almost all merchants? In the United States, unless my catch-all card is a Union Pay or Diners Club card, I can't really see why my card wouldn't get accepted anywhere, aside from a place being cash only, the network being down, or they have a grudge against American Express. Those are the only three reasons I can think of. Or I somehow have a Union Pay card, or my catch-all card is a Diners Club card. In which case, what am I doing on this podcast? I'm kidding. My current catch-all card, I have two. My personal one is going to be the Wells Fargo Active Cash. My partner's, which she's an authorized user on, is the Chase Freedom Unlimited. So she uses the Chase, I use the Wells, go from there. Do I think they're the best catch-all cards in the market, even if I, oh, what do I think is the best catch-all card on the market, even if I don't have it? I'm going to take the hard right turn of a hotel card can do a lot for you as a catch-all card. The IHG Premier, with everything that it offers, is a really strong catch-all card at 3x IHG points. If you pay the 150 and take off the foreign transaction fees, the Hilton Surpass is a really strong catch-all card. Even if you are not if you don't worry about the foreign transaction fees, the Hilton Honors card, really strong catch-all card, 3x points across the board. So you're good there. I think those are some of the best options for you in the points and miles game if you're looking for points and miles in specific programs. Is there a popular car catch-all that you think is overrated? If so, why? I don't think any of them are necessarily overrated. I think they all have their pros and cons, right? The Active Cash has foreign transaction fees, but it's a 2% card. You can move your 2% cash back to the autograph relatively easily. Double Cash, 2% catch-all card, foreign transaction fees. You get 1% when you make the purchase, 1% when you pay your bill. That's the silly nature of that's the silly selling point of the card that's been around forever at this point. But it works. City's fairly popular. And you can pool those points over to the City Strata Premier and transfer out your points if you're into the points and miles game, or you can cash them out at a penny per point. Really helpful. The Quicksilver, no foreign transaction fees. That's cool, but it's capped at 1.5%. So that sucks, is what it is. Freedom Unlimited, 1.5% annoying, but you can pair it with the Sapphire Preferred to make it 1.883, and you can pair it with the Sapphire Reserve to make it 2.25. 2.25 is more than 2. So you get going pretty well there. I don't think they're overrated. I think they're all sufficiently rated, but it's going to depend on what ecosystem you want to be in. I'm not using American Express because the best option I have for a membership reward or point earning card as a catch-all is the Blue Business Plus. And unless you're someone who knows they can activate a business card or is fearless about activating a business card, that is an option for you. But if you are not someone who wants to go down that path, even though American Express gives them out like candy, I don't want to count that, just to be fair to the other issuers, because no other issuer relies on a business card to be its catch-all card across the board. American Express, you'd be wise to just put out some sort of catch-all on the membership point rewards earning personal side, on the personal membership rewards earning side. So thanks, Keith.